I would say, so that with that question, I think I remember, my mom actually, she helped a candidate run for county supervisor for whatever reason, and she was on the campaign committee, and it was a Democrat. And I think that probably was my first explicit understanding of Democrat Republican. So my parents didn't talk a lot about politics. They did not talk about it, but I also wonder, they didn't talk a lot about it, but I know they always voted. And I do believe my mom earlier on was a Democrat, and my dad voted more Republican, generally, you would say. Honestly, I wonder, educationally wise, I bet you most of my teachers were Democrat, whether explicitly or implicitly, but I bet a lot of my teachers were Democrat. So that probably influenced me in ways that I wasn't, aware of. So by that time I was pretty Democrat, but I was too young to vote. But I remember meeting him, and I remember being I almost was like embarrassed meeting him because he was a Republican presidential candidate, which is just so funny. I do feel like it was, like you said, a very humbling experience, because you got to see the humanity. I got to literally meet him in person and see how he is, and see him as a human being, and see the goodness in him. So I was happy to, it made you realize just the humanness. And
that's interesting.
I've always resonated as a Democrat, and it's probably for the social issues mainly, because in general, Democrats have a more social platform that I agree with. I think then the election of 2016 solidified it with a capital S.
Tell me about that. Were you super excited for Hillary, or what happened? What was going on?
I thought she was going to win. Like, I was like, it's a shoo-in. I mean, my ignorance or whatever. And it was
That's what the polls said. Yeah.
Yeah. It was like, oh my God. And so I think it was like, with Trump winning, it was like, it was kind of like, and he's just the part of the country that we just don't want to talk about, but it's there. And he just rips the Band-Aid off and shows you, this is the ugly side of us too. And I'm talking about the things that he says and does that really infuriates a lot of people.
Turnout was high in 2016. There's supposed to even be more so this year. And what do you think? Why do you think that is? Is it?
I for sure think half of it is because they want to show I do not like Trump. And I think the Trump supporters want to be like, I just want to show you he's doing awesome. So going back to my parents, my dad was never really super political, but within the last 10 years, he became more so, and on the Democrats, like he became more and more thinking like, wow, things really aren't okay for everyone. Like this, we do kind of need to look at programs and stuff that like help all people. So, but by the end of his life, he was super on a rampage against, like, way more than he would post stuff on social media, not meanly, but just like, he's a jerk, and this is a guy who's like a 70-year-old white guy, nuclear engineer, posting these type of things, that it was a major shift. For me personally, I have a real problem with him denying racism in the country, and the absence of racism, and not having the willingness of having that be a part of the fabric of what has founded our country, I think is a complete disservice. So I think negating any sense of that is really one of the main issues I have with him. What I've really been working on a lot, and learning how to really be feeling it in my body, like how we are so, and just how it's not serving anyone. It's not doing anything to anyone. In fact, it's doing the opposite. It's making Trump people want to go vote faster and quicker and louder, right? So it's like, the more I do this, the more they're it's like, so really learning to have an awareness of how I'm even showing up in any conversation around this, and really diffusing it, like really getting
Interesting.
getting a really literally body, how's my body feeling right now, like getting in check with that, like is my chest hurt, am I breathing soft, like just getting getting grounded in how I'm feeling, and then meeting that person where they are,
Mm-hmm.
and letting them know I'm hearing them, right? Like just at some level, at some way, letting them know I'm hearing them, and acknowledging it, like owning, like I hear what you're saying, and I could see that too, and then admitting my own vulnerability around it.
Mm, that's really cool.
But yeah.
Is meditation part of your sort of
Yes. So
how you
I've been doing
yeah.
meditation like pre all 2000, like I've been doing meditation, but I would say it's so like one of those tools that you see how you use it in everything
Mm-hmm.
type of thing. So it's just getting a better, my mindfulness that I do, it helps, it's almost like strengthens the muscle of just detaching, like non-judgment, of just really approaching everything with curiosity, like just non-judgment curiosity, because at the end of the day nothing's gonna happen unless we can at least hook, like some sort of hook that two of us can like just begin to, and it's not, one conversation's not going to change it,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
if this person's been a Republican and loves Trump for the last 10 years, one conversation with me is not going to change it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And do you talk with people about lots of different topics, and politics just happens to be one way this falls into that sort of way of being that you're kind of fostering? Is politics just one element of that, or do you use that in your work in general?
I would say for sure I use it in my work. I would, any otherism that we're having a problem with, right? We have to like find a way of connecting to it and having some level of compassion. So be it politics, be it whatever, you know what I mean? It's like, we're not going to get anywhere if we cannot like have some sort of like
Yeah.
deflation,
Right.
grounding.
Are you
I'm not, I'm involved as far as like I have signs up front.
uh-huh.
I have like, I've recently become more engaged with our school board, going to the
Mm-hmm.
school board meeting, and honestly having conversations like with my kids who are 14, right? And with my husband. But I definitely see a ripple effect. Like I can see it getting more and
Yes.
more
Yes.
into it.
One
Yeah.
thing that I took away from working at our area newspaper was how important the
Mm.
local issues are and local elections. So that's great. You're getting involved with your school board. That's great.
It's it's also frankly a privilege that I can, in the sense of like it's a lot. I mean, just to even figure out where the school board is, and I mean it's like, so it's
Mm-hmm.
like, where can I exert my privilege, or like use my privilege as a
Mm-hmm.
benefit as far as serving the greater good,
Yeah.
being a being a advocate for equity, and the construct of going back to politics in my work, because I work with women professionals,
Mm-hmm.
right? So understanding or talking about kind of the systems that we work in, and we work in this larger system that's patriarchy, white supremacy, and I mean that in the sense that there are qualities, aspects that are just baked into the way we operate and
Mm.
think, that keep this whole thing going,
Mm.
exactly what we're doing. And so
Mm-hmm.
having an awareness of that, we are, and we do it, we since the day we were born, we've been bred, and we're swimming in it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
Interesting.
it was only a year ago that I really started taking a deep dive, like literally a year ago. And then a few months later, I just was really, it was like, oh, I was like, oh my God. Like, I feel like how we were with George, that's how I was feeling a year ago, or I was like,
Oh.
I had no idea. I'm like, oh my God. I really had no idea. And in that, my dad was sick at the time. And he subsequently had a curiosity in learning this stuff too.
Mm.
So he started learning. I was sending him podcasts, and he started listening to the podcast, and we would talk about it. And I found it so um, inspiring, that this man who's had cancer, and then he was later put on hospice near the end, was listening to these podcasts every day, had a real willingness of wanting to learn about racism
Yeah.
and about white privilege,
A lifelong learner right up until the end. That's amazing.
And so then the legacy he's left for me, as far as like him and his willingness to do that. And then so for me, you know, what's my legacy in continuing to do the work? And then for my kids, right? And for out and beyond.
Sure. In terms of what their style.
I love Elizabeth Warren.
What do you love about her?
I think she's really smart. She actually has a plan for everything. Like if you listen to what she laid out, she had a plan. Yeah. She has a plan. She is been in politics for a long time, and I don't think that's a problem. Like I think she really knows what she's talking about. Like she really, my fear, my concern is that unfortunately she's older, so I don't know, you know, if she has another round of being at the presidency. But I think she had a plan for a lot of stuff that made complete sense. And she was an amazing debater. I was thrilled when Obama won. I mean, I was okay with Bush winning, but not really. But now after Trump winning, I'd take a Bush anytime. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know AOC, well enough. I just know I see a lot of sound bits of her on social media. So, but the things that I have heard from her, she's really wicked smart, and I think she calls it like it is, which I think is really good and it's what's needed. So, I think women. I would love to see a lot more women. Like 50% women. Oh, cool. That would be my. Good. That would be my answer. That's a good question. I would say, going back to the women, I would love to see more women. I would love to see, so not just in the House, great, in the Senate, but I mean, presidency, like we need women leadership up there. Like that would make me, I mean, we can go through all the, you know, what kind of healthcare plan do we have, or what the, like, I just feel like we need people of color, Black people, like we just need more representation in these positions. That's what would make me, and I don't want to say be a Democrat or Republican, but I really feel like if we have the population represented as women, people of color, Black people, like that would make me, and then let's see what happens with, you know, the actual policies and all of that. But that's a good question, because I really would come from that stance.
Do you think it's because, like you were saying earlier, we have had so many white men over the years, that we just need something a little bit different? Or do you think it's something that women inherently have a different perspective?
Yeah, inherently, I would say oftentimes women do have different attributes. Like they are completely more multi-task, like they do. That's very generalistic, but I think we need representation, whatever the personality and all that shows up. But I mean, we are a very diverse country, and our top positions aren't representing that.
Are you excited about Kamala Harris?
Yeah, I mean, yes, I am. I mean, do I think she's 100% amazing? No, but I think I don't want to say it's better than, but it's moving us a lot. It's moving us to what we need. Yes, we need, right? I think there's a lot of awesome attributes about her. I also think she was really hard about parolees and the prison system. I think she was pretty harsh. But it's like, we have to move away from this all or nothing thinking. Like she's either all amazing or she sucks. It's like, she's good. She has crappy qualities too, and she also has awesome qualities. And just notice how your body's feeling, and just have awareness of it, and don't make it wrong. And when you're feeling tense, you're just having awareness of it and letting it be.
Well, we talked about politics this time, but next time I would love to know how you equate all of that thinking with parenting. I could use some of that.
For sure.